The International is coming. The world's best Dota 2 teams fighting for their chance to be forever remembered as the greatest players of all time. Each team and player bringing with them a unique story to share. This is the International Lowdown, and this is the story of PSG.LGD. From the ashes. Oftentimes in the volatile world of esports, teams can just implode, cease to be. It's not that rare. After all, many teams are created on pretty shaky foundations, formed hours before roster locks by 5 players in a desperate play for the ages. Organizations exist right because of this, to provide stability for these teams. But what happens when the organization itself implodes? Well, you got yourself a situation that few can recover from. Such was the case for LGD. Never missing a single international, LGD gaming has been a staple of the Chinese scene for nearly a decade and has housed some of the world's best. But after TI7's 4th place, things began to go downhill pretty fast. For months, the team saw little to no success in the Dota Pro Circuit, and time was starting to become of the essence. By December of 2018, the team publicly imploded, calling for team reform and even going so far as to ask fans to email them suggestions on who they could possibly think of for replacements. In the eyes of the world, LGD was about as dead as could possibly be. But from those ashes of the all but defunct squad, new talent arrived not only to make this team competitive again, but sent them soaring over all the others like a phoenix, ending their season as the 3rd best team in the entire world. If that ain't a comeback story, I don't know what is. Comprised of some of the youngest players attending this year's International and sponsored by a French soccer club, PSG.LGD's return from the brink of collapse is a tale told in the blood of their enemies over a season of creativity and innovation the likes of which we have never seen before in Dota 2, showing no signs of stopping on their way to the International 8. And while many of the players on LGD are new to the organization, one player that they have heavily invested in is Ame. Originally on CDEC Youth along with XZ and Victoria, his entire squad was taken up by LGD, brought in as fresh meat to be molded by their older teammates. Originally being brought in to replace the dominating aggressive, Ame had pretty big shoes to fill. But surprisingly, he was able to, acting as a fine replacement and growing in skill over 8 months with the team. While LGD was disappointed with their old squad, the new squad saw results much on the back of Ame. And only 1 year after joining, he netted that team an impressive accomplishment of 4th place at last year's International. Ame has been on an upward spiral for 2 years now, and as this team's DPC season has shown, that doesn't look like it's going to be stopping anytime soon. Maybe was LGD's big discovery back in 2014, many Chinese fans calling him the Chinese Sumail. An extremely high MMR player with no competitive experience, LGD took him on and began his quiet training, establishing himself in 2015, but lying pretty low for over a year. Completely invested in their new prodigy though, LGD built a brand new squad, LGD Young, entirely around him. Maybe had grown in skill considerably through his training period. By the time the DPC really began, he was the longest standing player in LGD gaming, being with the team for over 3 years. 3rd place at TI5 and 4th at TI7, maybe has transformed from a no-name to a real big-timer. Recently flirting with changing his name to Samus, the Greek brother of death, there is no maybe about it. This kid is getting ready to win himself an International. One of the more unique histories for a Dota player, Chalice got much of his experience competing in the national team tournaments like WESG and the ROG Masters. These tournaments are pretty strange. because players join teams based on nationality and aren't actually comprised of true Dota 2 teams. Yet, Chalice attended many of these events, rubbing shoulders with big-name pros and creating very lasting impressions, which got him suggested for LGD's new squad. Perhaps remembered by the pros, perhaps suggested via the fan email, I'm not really sure how Chalice got on LGD, but they sure are happy that he did, as he is one of the best playmakers they have on the team. After all, if you watch his Underlord play at DAC, you can see why Chalice has become top shelf. The only player on the team who's not Chinese, the Malaysian X-Nova, rose to fame during his time for Warriors Gaming Unity in 2016. A Malaysian team who managed to place top 8 at the Boston Major. A positive and gentle soul in interviews, he was flamed by the community at large since he had to replace huge names on LGD. But he took that criticism and he used it as motivation. To quote, "You can't avoid these sort of people from flaming or blaming you. You just need to live with it. I take the negative compliments and comments as room for improvement so that I am constantly motivated to learn and play better for the next game." That positive attitude paid off, and X-Nova has become the star player on the team. His deadly witch doctor plays and unique style make him now a pleasure to watch for fans around the world. The oldest player on the team, FY, was part of the original VG Gaming when it was formed back in 2012, and was part of various iterations of VG all the way up until the start of the DPC in September 2017. Known as the best Rubik player in the world, FY makes even the most accomplished pro players look like jokes in his games, stealing their spells and wrecking their teams. After spending 6 years with VG Gaming, FY left because he felt that he wanted to diversify, changing his roles and teams while trying to grow as a player himself. After flirting with the offlane position, FY has returned to his iconic support position, much to the benefit of LGD and much to the horror of enemy pro players around the world. FY has nothing left to prove, but he continues to excel where other veterans of his era have already thrown in the towel. And he plans to use these flashy plays this year to finally win himself an international. LGD, a team that was on the brink of destruction, reformed to become the highest-ranked Chinese team in the entire pro circuit. LGD has shown that never giving up can really pay off in the end. Making a play for the biggest tournament in the world, this squad continues their tradition of never missing a single international. Born from the ashes, the fire of LGD, she still burns bright, showing no signs of dwindling before the International 8.